Hello there guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Bakays and I do Forza Horizon 4 car videos as well as car reviews and speculations. So why not subscribe and hit that bell for notifications if you're interested in that sort of stuff. As today we're going to indulge ourselves on the Lamborghini Miura SVJ. The reason why I'm making this video is because there's recently been an announcement that Lamborghini Aventador is going out with a bang because Lamborghini are going to produce their final series production V12, the Aventador Ultimate, which is the most powerful incarnation of the Aventador with 780 horsepower and roughly 550 pound-feet of torque. So big numbers really. So the 6.5 litre V12 has been pushed to its limits. So I did mention the most powerful production V12 for road use. That doesn't include the track-only Ascenza, which has 820 horsepower. So this Miura SVJ then, what is this all about? It's a souped-up Miura P400. Obviously has a lot more horsepower than the standard, weighs a lot less, and you'll see some specs coming up on the screen now. So yeah, pretty big specs. However, there are things that I've looked up on the internet that require citation, such as the curb weight being 800 kilograms. Now, I could not confirm or deny that, so obviously I had to tune this as best as I could, and we're at the top of A class. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare this to an Aventador Ultimate that I'm going to tune here in Forza Horizon 4 with a track test and a drag race, and just rate the general driving feel of this. I'm also going to rate the general driving feel of this Miura SVJ. Obviously there are different sort of things compared to the real production car. So if you didn't know, there was about 200 of these made, which means it's a very, very rare car. One of them, I think, sold at auction for $1.85 million, or somewhere around that sort of line. The regular car has rear-wheel drive, but in keeping with Lamborghini's tradition for all-wheel drive machines, I made this a four-wheel drive. I changed the drivetrain to four-wheel drive, because why not? Makes it quicker. So this baby should get us to 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds and 0 to 100 in, I would say, under 10. Quarter mile time will probably be around the high 12 seconds, but we're going to test this out very soon. So in terms of driving dynamics, it's very easy, and you can see I've put some active air on it in the front and the rear, like I think this should have had at the time. And the handling rating is about 7.1, so nowhere near like its modern counterpart. However, it really does handle fairly well for a car from the late 60s, early 70s. I'll just go on the interior view. So you can see, looking through this cockpit and having this wooden steering wheel is very strange considering we're going about 150 miles an hour. The top speed of this car is probably a little bit lower than the standard Miura. I'd say around 160, 170. The Miura itself could probably reach 180 if it didn't have this active aerodynamics. You can see just very basic cabin in here, unlike the Aventadors. But it's very nice to be driving this. It's quite refreshing. Also, guys, I can't wait for Forza Horizon 5 too. Obviously, there could be more tunability with the cars, but we could see an actual Lamborghini Aventador SVJ or Ultimate, or even the Cyan come into play. If not as standard cars, maybe as DLC, and maybe I could really get into the meat and potatoes of that. But for now, let's get into the performance test, starting off with the drag race. So at the start line of the quarter mile, and we're off. No issues with traction, not quite enough power for the amount of weight we have. And you just see we're already at 100 miles an hour, and we cross the line with an 11.9, so this is considerably quick. Now though the Aventador Ultimate will smash this, considering it has over 300 horsepower more than the Miura, just catapults off the line, and here we go, we're already at 124 or 200 kph. See, in under 9.9 seconds. So we're at our trusty Bamberg Coast circuit, and I was actually surprised that the Aventador was 2 seconds quicker in the quarter mile. Maybe we can redeem ourselves from the track test. So away we go. Starting off, we're going to try and get the best lap. You can see on this practice we're quite wallowy. However, I do find that this is actually more manageable than the Aventador due to its lower weight. I think this one weighs about 1100-1200 kilos or something like that. Obviously with the real one claiming to be about 800, I can imagine that one would have been an absolute rocket. That one would have had over 500 horsepower per ton. This one at the moment is sitting around 350 per ton. So we're coming down to the last sort of corner here, a little windy circuit, really challenging this car. So down on the back straight, it's not its strongest suit this. Acceleration wise it's quite good. Expect to get under 1 minute with this car. Anyway, now I'll just try and get the best lap possible. You can see just bobbing and weaving, trying to really put the power down, all 450 horsepower. That 4 litre V12 singing gloriously. It's a good thing that this is narrow. You get into tight spaces with this car. Such a small, low profile vehicle. I just love the way it looks too. Slowing down the snaky and final sort of bends here. Still approached them at national speed limits, honestly. Such a good resto mod, really. Well, actually, not even a resto mod. This was an official production car. Very limited. So yeah, I think we're going to hit that under 1 minute with a 59.7. So now let's see the generational jump in performance. So the Aventador versus the Miura, the first V12 versus the absolute last V12 from Lamborghini. And you can see already that its average speed is so much higher. Oh, the weight's really shining through. This car weighing about 300 kilograms more. It's just a bit more difficult to handle, despite having better suspension, better tyres, almost better everything, really. The back straight, hitting speeds the Miura can only dream of. Using the gears. A lot shorter ratios on this one compared to the Miura. Now I will say that the Miura actually has the current Aventador SVJ's gearing, but the way that the final drive is, it just makes the gearing seem so long. I mean, that can hit 100 in a second. Oh, the power of the Aventador. We've already smashed the Miura's time. Best time for the Miura is 59 seconds. We shattered it by 5 seconds. We're going to get low 50s, I think. See that active rear wing on the Aventador. Only seen in race cars at the time when the Miura was produced. Probably not even then. Coming down to the last corner. Going a little bit wide. Okay, this is going to be very fast this lap. Here we go, so we got 53.6. It's about a second quicker than the running in lap. See if we can get any faster. No lift on the throttle here. Oof. Maybe should have lifted on the throttle a little bit. No matter. Gonna try and just... The next lap should be good enough. See, we're getting faster and faster. We cross the line at 180 miles an hour roughly. Very clean this. Well, apart from that little grassy patch. Third gear being used quite effectively. Braking very lightly. Trying to be careful with this mighty V12. 780 horsepower just rumbling. So you're on the back straight about 8 seconds quicker than the Miura. It's probably in the corners where the Miura actually makes up time. We're going about the same speed as the Miura through the last turns, really, because we can't really carry that much more speed. Clock's-ticking. That one was slightly better. I think that's the best one we're going to do. So to conclude then, it's blindingly obvious that the Aventador is a ton quicker than the Miura. But that being said, the Miura is still an almighty car, even considering its specs. I mean, it is probably as fast as like a Lotus from today, really, and in terms of handling, not quite as good. However, it's way more manageable than the current Lamborghinis of today because of its low curb weight. And like I said, the actual 800 kilogram version would have been even more flickable. The Aventador, on the other hand, however, is just so much faster in terms of outright speed. The actual claim from Lamborghini is that it can hit a top speed of 355 miles an hour, 355 kilometers per hour, or about 220 miles an hour or so. This can only hit about 160, 170 on the downhill. Nowhere even close. And the acceleration is nowhere near. 0 to 60 in 2.8 for the Aventador. 0 to 100 in about 6 or so. The quarter miles being 2 seconds apart, you can really see the generational performance jump. But the Miura is still a very special car. And in terms of catalogue price, a lot more expensive as well, because there's so much less on the road as well. Even though the Ultimate will be a very rare car in of itself, there's much more Aventadors on the road. That could probably influence the price, but the Ultimate will start at around 400k, so doesn't really quite reflect. Not compared to a $1.8 million auction price for this baby. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this little insight video. And hopefully, for those of you who've had experienced an actual Lamborghini, I'll congratulate you and cherish it for every moment. It's realistically every petrol head's dream is to get into that sort of car and have a little drive of it. So please comment down below your thoughts, subscribe if you haven't already, and peace.